Welcome to the Longbox Paradox, episode 32. I'm Dan, and today we're going to be discussing a couple of curated picks I had. Weirdly, I'm going to be a little DC heavy today. I wasn't really overjoyed with a lot of the Marvel books released. The one that I did want to check out, my shop was out of already, and to be honest, picking it up online is way out of my price range right now because it was already up to $25 to $32, and that was Captain Marvel number 8. They were introducing a new character named Star. So if you find it on the shelves, it's a good spec pick right now because it dried up and disappeared real fast. The Inuk Lee Carnageized cover would be the one, in my opinion, to pick up. But just be on the lookout for it. So we're going to start out right away with a book that caught my eye when I saw the solicits come up. And that would be Blade Runner 2019 from Titan Comics. I had a great art germ cover featuring the main protagonist of the book, who is a Blade Runner named Ash. We meet Ash interrogating a replicant right at the beginning, and she's naming off the price of all the parts. And she challenges the replicant to be killed and picked apart and sold piece by piece, or kill himself. He says, "My name is Benjamin," and then stabs himself in the eyes. And this is after Ash had told him that the eyes are the most expensive piece of the replicant to be sold on the black market to collectors. From there, we end up meeting her keeper, and he's giving her her next job, which is to find the wife and child of this scientist who, the last time his wife and child were seen, were leaving a birthday party with Tyrell family, which Tyrell family, if you're in the Blade Runner lore, you know the Easter eggs. One thing I'll say, yes, the art germ cover is fantastic. The interior art is not bad. Usually with these books, you'll see great covers, but the interior art is not too fantastic. The artist does a serviceable job. The story moves along pretty well. We find out that our Blade Runner Ash has some really big problems, kind of up to her eyes and owing people money, which is why she was selling off pieces of the replicants. And we also discover part of one of the problems was she never takes her jacket off. She has cybernetics basically enabling her to walk. As she gets home, she takes off her coat, and we see on her back this apparatus, and then she sits in a wheelchair. Pretty decent first issue. It steeps you in the lore a little bit. Kind of don't get a lot in this issue. They're doing a little bit of the world building, introducing us to Ash, and kind of setting the tone for how the book's going to be. I'm in for the next issue, well, especially if they keep with Art Germ doing the covers, but I'd say this is a 5 or 6, somewhere in between, maybe 5.5. It was good enough, but I kind of wanted there to be more, and the art and story weren't enough to push it higher. Again, I love the story of Blade Runner and that universe, so I'm kind of a mark for it. But check it out, especially if you like that universe or sci-fi in general. I think there's a depth to the character Ash we're going to get deeper into as the story goes on, and she is kind of a interesting protagonist so far. So moving on from there, we're going to go to now the whole run of DC that I have. It'll be 3 titles. So we're going to start out with the most lighthearted of them, and that was Superman's Pal, Jimmy Olsen, by Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber. Steve Lieber you might know from The Fix and Deadly Foes of Spider-Man. He does a great bit of whimsy with Nick Spencer on those titles. He has an art style that fits really well for the weird lightheartedness of this title. The title itself doesn't have a main story to say. It's several little stories, while the last one leads into issue 2. all very interesting. There's a lot of humor in it. Matt Fraction, if this feels like it's completely in his wheelhouse of weird, funny stories. And, we have one, Jimmy Olsen drops from a plane. He's shot before he falls out of it and turned into a giant turtle and crashes through the Luthor lion. There's one where he's in Gotham and he sees a newspaper saying Jimmy Olsen dead. All kinds of little short stories in here. Really light read. It's a really quick read, too. That would be my complaint at that price point of how quick of a read. And a lot of it just doesn't stay with you. But fairly good enough. I'm going to give this a 6. Again, it wasn't enough to really keep me too interested. Like, as soon as I closed the book, I started to forget what I just read. And that's kind of a bad sign. But again, I enjoyed what I read. Just nothing really. It was so quick and done, each story, that it just didn't really stay with me. Whereas that last Superman, the one that pretty much led into like the Lois Lane books and it had little short stories in it. I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of Superman big book that had all the titles, but it had like a little bit for Lois Lane, a little bit for Jimmy Olsen, where he was in Gorilla City. I thought that was a better story than what was in here. But just little quibble thing with it. Maybe by issue 2 we're gonna get actual like main story that we're gonna be following, and it won't be all little stories. But I kind of don't think so, and it's I think 12-issue limited series. So next we're going to go to the new Young Animal title, and it is by Mikey Way, Gerard Way's brother, and his entry in I forget the artist's name off the top of my head, but Tim and Sean Simon. And it follows this character, Liam James. He's our main protagonist. And starts with, looks like another universe, and a woman warrior being killed. And then it moves on to Liam in his bed, waking up. He sleeps with a sword, weird enough. And he is a RN at a hospital and talks about how like he hates his job, cleaning bedpans and helping everybody around all day, and then goes to his nightlife where he is a club DJ and he's hoping for his big break. And as the big break's happening, like he's kind of finally like starting, everything's going right this night, and the power goes out. And the power may or may not have been going out, may or may not have been caused by this package he got from, they say, his mother. And the package, you see, like, this black corrosive stuff is coming out of it, like an energy, a blob, like a dirt almost. And as he's going to the club, it, like, links onto him as he's walking out the door. And from there, we then start getting into the gist of the story. His mother had a black hole in her, and now he has this black hole. Seems like an interesting storyline. Liam is not the most likable protagonist. We get a lot of his inner monologue thoughts, like almost like negative thoughts constantly. He had blamed his girlfriend when the set went poorly, saying there's too many people up by the booth and it shorted something out. He's placing his blame everywhere. Pretty decent first issue. I'm willing to check out the second issue, and I'm not sure how much Mikey Way contributed to the storytelling in this, since there was a co-writer. But again, it was good enough for me to check out. I'll give it a 7. I was actually like interested enough to keep going. So now we're going to move on to one of the most confusing books now. I've said my piece many times about Tom King's Batman. I'd read that they're introducing a new Robin. They sort of did. Sort of, maybe. So Tony Daniel is back with Tom King on this first issue of City of Bane. And we start out with a homicide, and there is a call from the commissioner out to go check out this murder scene. And we see, bottom part of a face saying, "Yeah, commish, we'll go check it out." And the next panel or two, then we see the other face in the car, and it's the Joker. And it's revealed that the other detective in the car is the Riddler. Hugo Strange is the commissioner, as Bane's in control, and as they're checking out this body, they're talking about how they know it's Harvey, it's Two-Face. I mean, he might as well have just left the coin. And they said, "Are you gonna shine the light?" Hugo says, "Yeah," and the Batman shows up, but not the Batman. We now have the Flashpoint Batman patrolling the city, and he's got his bat symbol, but it has a circle around, like in the background of the bat. He has, funny enough, the ventriloquist is his Alfred. Also, then he goes to confront Harvey, and it was Solomon Grundy, and I cannot remember. I almost thought it was Amygdala was the other one there. It was another brutish, big enforcer, I guess we'll call it. And Thomas Wayne is confronting him, and he's talking to somebody saying to be there in 7 seconds, and he's counting down. And then, just like a missile from above, it's Gotham Girl. Her hair is grown back. She's got a new costume. She won't stop talking, and kind of like one person monologuing about how Batman doesn't want her to talk. Batman wants her to be stealthy. She has her laser eyes, cuts off an arm. She's Gotham Girl, but she's also Robin. She basically just rips apart and, stops the fight on her own pretty much. Batman then uses his surgical skills to basically give Bane Two-Face and kind of end the Harvey part of it. So there is only Two-Face now. And then, Hugo's like, well, Bane's not going to be happy. While this is going on, we then see this little drone going around. Looks like the Hall of Doom in the background. The Hall of Doom looks like this drone's going around looking. And as that's searching for Bane, then we have Batman eating dinner with Alfred and talking about, since they have him, the other people aren't coming into the city, trying to stop them. Intercut with this, though, we see a man walking into it looks like the Himalayas, and saying this little rhyme in his head. It is going there to meet the monks, and when he gets to the top, he's then like hit with a hammer or something. He's knocked out, and we find out it's Bruce Wayne, and they keep talking about she's gonna be mad that you did this. And it's Catwoman. Welcome to Bat Cat again. Bat Cat. Cat. Bat. Yeah. So basically where I'm very, very confused is issue 74, we're doing this whole trip with Martha's body to the Lazarus Pit. Then we just jump to this shit, and I have no fucking clue why. There's nothing. This whole thing makes no sense, because it's like he can't finish a thread. Got to keep leaving these loose threads, and it honestly makes the story worse. Now I do feel like he's trying to rush to the end now that he has this limited amount of issues. Tony Daniel's art. Good in certain scenes, not so great in some others. A little inconsistent, I guess that would be what I'm trying to say. At the end of the story also, it's the hologram of Luthor going to Bane and trying to get him to be part of the, I guess it's what they're calling the offer, has an offer to make. Bane, I guess, is in control of the city. We're not going to explain how he took control of it. He just does. Again, tons of loose threads and trying to figure out what the hell just happened or has been happening. And pretty much staying consistent with this book kind of not giving the audience what they need or want. It's just a flight of fancy for King to shove in whatever he can. It was disappointing. I actually was pretty hooked in at the beginning when I saw, Joker and Riddler were the cops. And then it just hit a bad curve. And then once Thomas Wayne shows up with Gotham Girl, and Gotham Girl's dialogue is just trash. Look, I gave it a try. I was curious enough to check it out. And hey, I tried. I gotta give this a grade. I'm not gonna be too harsh on it. I am gonna give it a 5. It was okay, but it was nonsense. And unfortunately, with how much this book has been built up, I mean, the City of Bane thing, I feel like they've been trying to build to for 2 years now, and we even heard about it way back when. And it's a bad start. It's a bad start to this end run of his for this book. Disappointing, and I mean, I feel bad for the fans who have hung in there. Like, I'm a lapsed fan on this book. I have kind of kept up on it, but I haven't spent money on it. This one I did, unfortunately, and I got burned. I feel burned by it. So with that being said, again, this is my opinion. Don't let it paint your opinion or taint it. Like what you like. Enjoy what you like. Don't let me bring you down on that. If we all like the same things would be really boring. Life would be boring. So, like, comment, share, subscribe. Hopefully you got all the variants or books that you wanted. And I also want to give a quick promotion to, on the 23rd, my frequent co-host Gamba and I are doing our second episode of our Ink Panels graphic novel book club. It will be The Magic Order. Probably expect it to be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour long. The Die one we did went way long. So we'll have that out, and I will be finishing up my Scream series review probably this Sunday or Monday. I think that is it for right now. Speaking of it, I will have the trailer reaction video tomorrow. It is releasing the trailer at 12 noon tomorrow, so sometime around 3 or 4 I will have that up for my reaction review. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, guys, happy hunting. Thanks for watching, and see you next Wednesday.